Welcome to GaGa's Kitchen, Cook the Books. This is more of a Cook the Books thing. And I'm going to have to take my glasses off because I just realised that it doesn't matter where I put myself. I'm getting screen glare. Anyway, so I look blurry, but hopefully I look clear to you. Okay, Cook the Books, week 5. Now, over the weeks, we've talked about different cuts of meat, what you can do if you go back into some of the archive videos. You'll see things about auditing your freezer, fridge, pantry, and this is where it all comes together. So let's talk about week 5, the really, really important week out of your budget regime. Now, did you know that you actually touch an item when you go shopping 11 times? You don't really realise it until you actually do a little bit of time motion study on how many times you actually touch each item. Number 1, shopping every week isn't a have to. It isn't a must. It isn't a protocol thing that you do. Shopping shouldn't be dictated to you. You dictate when the shopping gets done. So you don't have to shop every week. And this is why week 5 is really important. So number 1, you don't have to shop every week. Number 2, if you've got a set amount that you are trying your damnedest to actually stay within a budget, a certain budget for your food, draw out that money that you would normally shop. Yes, draw it out. Remember that thing called cash? Yes, cash. Draw it out in cash. That's your number 2. So hypothetically, let's give an example. All right, I'm going to pull out 1, 2, 3. I try to work on around $200, okay? Demonstrated by 4 spoons. We'll just keep that in the little kitty just for now. So draw out your cash. Number 3, do a freezer and pantry fridge audit. What do you actually have in your freezer and fridge that you could, and your pantry, that you can actually make into meals? And that it's sitting there, you've already paid for it, let's use it. And what you don't have is 4, make a list. If you're going to actually make a meal and you go into your fridge or wherever you keep your onions and you go, oh, shivers, I've only got 1, which basically means that you will need, let's say 4, and you need to buy another 3. Yes, 3 onions. Put it on your list. If you go into your freezer and work out, hey, I can do something and make pasta. I don't have enough pasta. Put down 1 packet of pasta. Now, there are everyday or every week essentials. Now, they can actually cover to be bread, milk, butter, eggs, but do count what you actually have. If you have got, let's say, half a loaf of bread still left over, check it. Will it actually last me for another 3 days? If that's the case, don't put it on the list. Only things go on the list that you know that you can use up in the next 5 days. Bread, because that's a consumable and you really like it fresh, no point in buying it now when you've still got 3 days worth of bread left. Eggs. Now, if you know that you tend to use 6 to 8 eggs a week, but you've got 6 left, don't put it on your list. There's a few things that you don't do, and that's one of them. Don't add anything onto your list that you know that you won't be using in the next 5 days. And the reason is you've got 7 days between shopping trips. You can always make something else up in those 2 days. And if it's super essential, you can go back and just get that one thing, or try to push yourself through for another couple more days. The other thing is that when you're doing your audit, you need to have a semi-idea of what you're going to actually do with your meals. I hate meal planning, but I need meal options. So when you're looking at what you have, something that might be all right for a fry-up could end up turning out to be okay for a stir-fry, or it can end up being a casserole or some other means, or soup, whatever. Look at the options of it and not exactly what the meals can actually be, because you don't want to shop if you don't have to. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. Remember we talked about our $200? What you've written your list up for is going to be a minimal amount. Now, that's all your really, really important essentials. That doesn't mean that you've actually still got, hypothetically, $150 that you can actually top up the snack jar. Snacks actually are optional. They're not all the time. You can have some niceties, see what you can actually do, but you don't want to use up the whole $200 of your normal shopping just in topping up for non-food meal type items. It's amazing what the kids can make do with, okay? I'm not saying starve the damn things, but what I'm actually saying is that scope it out a little bit more. And when you're looking in your pantry, the pantry story is an interesting story. But let's have a look. So we've now done an essential shop. Things that we're going to be running out of in the next 5 days, working out your meals. There's your $50. Put that away. The next thing is that, okay, you've got $150 left. Ooh, $150 in your purse. Who knew? Who knew we could have that sort of cash? So what will end up happening is that doing a pantry order is really, really important. And the reason is that your pantry is what I call dead dollars. If you were to go and add up how much every single item in your pantry would be and add it all up all together, and there's hundreds of dollars in your pantry just sitting there waiting. I refer to them as dead dollars because there's no point in you going, and this is why I don't like specials. I like specials. What I normally do when I see specials is I buy one, or the normal amount that I would buy for one meal. I will buy one extra, and at the absolute maximum, one more. I only will end up having one floating, because when I come to week 5, I will actually have those items in the pantry because they're ones that I use regularly, and I will actually go into those and actually use them. My mum had a little story with this, dead dollars. My mum used to always complain that she was $20 short when she used to do her shopping. I don't understand. I'm always short. But my mother used to buy in bulk. So if she actually saw something on special, she would buy a box of it. She was a big coffee drinker. So instead of actually, when things are on special, she would actually buy her one extra container. They're sort of items that go on special regularly. They usually have a 3-month cycle. She would buy a box. And when you add up, she had of all of these dead dollars, it will take her 12 months to recoup all of those boxes, even though she would go through a minimum of a container a week or a container a fortnight. So there is no point in complaining that you don't have the money if you've been buying in bulk. Cut down your bulk. As I said, unless it's actually items that you use in a big way, there's no point in having a spare room. And I'm going against all of the bulk buyers here. I know they're going to shoot me down in flames. But if you are on a super, super tight budget, there is no point in having 10 shampoos sitting in your pantry or your bulk room or storage area, when if those 10 items, yes, you might have ended up getting them for $3 and then usually $5. But there's no point in having that sitting in your in your pantry on that, and be it, you know, tomatoes or soup or whatever, pasta, whatever. If that's going to be sitting there for 6 months or longer and not being used, because in this day and age we need that money. Not necessarily cash, but we actually need that floating funds. So don't do it. The other thing is, and when I went through my mum's pantry, it was a little bit of a horrifying moment for her when we actually added everything up. And oldies, my mother's generation especially, who have gone through, you know, war and depression or really, really tight times, and we're coming into that now, know what it's like to actually go without. So they don't go without. They're actually, habit purchases. They don't double check what they've got in the pantry. And don't get me wrong, I actually suffer from it too. I don't know how it happened, but I went into a cupboard and I found 2 large packets of toilet paper that I didn't even realise I had. And I've been buying toilet paper regularly. So I've not bought it now for 4 weeks, and I'm down to 1 packet because I know exactly how much I use in a fortnight. The other thing is that you're doing your actual audit type stuff is trying to think about food actually differently. We tend to go to stuff that we know. So it's probably a good time to try to experiment, only if you've got all the ingredients. No point in buying a onion powder if you've never ever used onion powder, and all you're going to be, in the recipe calls for 1 teaspoon. There you go, you spent $3 for 1 teaspoon, wiki-doo. And if you don't think you're ever going to, and when are you going to use it again? And condiments are the worst part of shopping unnecessarily. So let's move along. Let's get back to our $150. Yeah, we've got $150 in cash still in our purse. You will find that when you have got, when you actually do end up going shopping, don't buy for the week. If you need to go back and go and purchase again, only get those few items that will take you to your normal shopping day. So hypothetically, let's say you shop on a Saturday, then you've done your audit, you worked out you've got enough probably for 5 days. Gee, heck, no, I can't stretch my fridge any longer. I need to go back up to the shop. Only buy for the 2 days. Only buy for your 2 days. Have your list as you run out of stuff and just go and get those 2 days worth of items. Now, hypothetically, your 2 days may end up using another $50. So that's what you got. And now we've got back to our day 7, our normal Saturday shopping. We've pushed it through for the week. In our 5th week, we do this every 5 weeks. With 5th week, shiny spoons. Hypothetically, in our budget, we've got $100. That $100 gets put away. Don't put it back in your purse. And that, if you're going to put anything back in your purse, only put 50. Don't put the whole 100, only put 50. And put the other 50 in what my partner knows I've got a second purse. My brother calls it my squirrel money. I used to call it my runaway money. If I ever didn't like it, at least I got some cash. And that now is a full $50 saving. And so we're now back to Saturday, which is our normal shopping. We now know that we've gone through the majority of stuff we've got in the fridge, and what we've got left over. Let's say we've got vegetables left over, and usually it's just bits. You might end up needing more celery or carrots or something. You might be able to pull out an extra piece of meat or whatever to make a broth. Use all of that up the best way you can and stuff, and you're going to be starting the fridge actually empty. And we're now getting back to Saturday. So to Saturday, guess what we've got? We've got $200. Ooh, we've got the whole lot back. Plus we've got a spare 50. That spare 50, normally what will end up happening with that is that I find it goes to cleaning products. Isn't that amazing? I mean, I've cut down my cleaning products and they're pretty basic. But let's say if you want, at the moment, dishwashing, for your dishwasher tablets, they've jumped from like $5 or $6 to like $11 to $13 a box. Okay, so that's actually happening. And we've just got that extra 50. If we don't have to use it, just keep it in your purse. Because I know I can tell you by the time you get into your normal shopping thing, you'll get to week 2 or week 3, and you're going to have to dip into that $50 for sure. It is not ice cream money. Okay, it is not ice cream money. It is not going out for coffee money. This is like spare shopping money, and that if you actually need to be topped up. But talking about shopping, if you use, and this is why I like the idea of cash, because the concept of using FPOS on using your card is about hypothetical dollars. Because if you happen to go over, you go, oh, I know I've got money in there, that's okay, or I'll use it. But when you only use what you've got, and even if you have an FPOS card that you actually set up specifically for shopping, and you put your $200 into that one FPOS card, it's not the everyday card, it's just your FPOS card, then you will know that you can only spend, try your best. Don't get me wrong. I hate it when I go over by $20. The man says, oh, just get it. And I'm going, oh, what can I put back? What have I gone over? It can dip in. That's why this little $50 piece is actually quite handy. So if you've got it in cash, keep it for that. If you're going to use the FPOS idea of having a specific card that is just shopping, you can't get over, don't be embarrassed about putting stuff back. And that. It's the rest of the world's problem, not yours. You are staying within your budget. So this extra 50 can be in that card. Then you go through. So if you're only going to use $190 of your $200, you've done a $10 saving. It's now going on top of your $50 saving, so there's $60. So when you're getting down to that week 2, week 3, you might need that whole 60 because all your fridge, pantry, freezer are starting to get a bit low, and you can take the option, if you see a special, that you can put into the freezer for following weeks. You can. It works. The system actually really does work. Cooking the books is probably one of the hardest things, and it's the only thing that we as households have control over. Most other things are set, except for our gas and electricity, of which we can have some sort of manageable costing over. But food is the only thing that we can actually do a pre-think about. So that is week 5. Week 5, the all-important week 5. And there's probably more things that I can tell you about week 5, and we can actually talk about budgeting money in the future. And especially when it comes to managing children in the household and things that they actually want, they would like. And that's a funny thing. We tend to spoil our family with the tasting pleasures in life. But the household budget actually does suffer for it. Okay, I hope you got something out of week 5, got some tips, give some feedback, see how you go. If week 5 doesn't work for you, then make it week 6. But do it for a week. I have found that week 5 is the best week to do it. In actual fact, my week 5 is going to go into week 6 because I actually only need, this week I was in my week 5. I've used $120 of my $200. So I have got some spare money there. Man bought ice cream, naughty. But that means that I've got $60 of that week 5. And that's the other thing, really quick. Only one person can be responsible for the week 5. And that is that whoever is the cook is the person who does that budget for that week. And that you can't work it out and I tell you, my life's normal. You can't work it out if you're the one that's doing all the saving and it's in all the money is in one EFTPOS card or one card, and then you have somebody indiscriminately going off and buying ice cream with your savings. This is why I like cash, because they can't go and do that. They don't have the access to this as much, and I can actually keep control of the actual savings. So I've worked it out that I just need some fruit and veg. I spent $35 to do some top-up stuff today. I might have to do another $50, and that's going to be mainly veg, and I might be able to do another week. So let's see how I go. All right, this is GaGa's Kitchen, Cook the Books, week 5, really important. Catch you later.